What's up, and welcome back to Interpreting the Scares. Today we're bringing it back to the horrific world of cause and effect with the Final Destination. This, of course, is not the final destination. There's another film I've yet to review in the franchise, and as usual, there are talks of another movie in the nearby future, too. There's no mythomania here, folks. This is honestly kind of a fun movie. Let's get cracking. This review is brought to you by the word of the day, mythomania, an excessive or abnormal propensity for lying and exaggerating. The Final Destination introduces us to young Nick O'Bannon, who, like the rest of the main characters in this film series, has a vision of a terrifying freak accident that leaves an incredible amount of people dead. This time around, he's at a car racetrack and something insane happens and people die. He escapes his doom with a few close friends and henceforth begins experiencing death as it knocks on all their doors, one by one, to reclaim their souls. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, which may be a bad thing for a number of people, or good depending on your preferences. This is the first film in the series to benefit from 3D technology. Now, horror films mixed with 3D is always interesting because they go all out and you know it. This isn't a typical 3D movie where 3D is just an added dimension to make it more interesting. This is go all out 3D. Have everything fly towards the audience 3D. Now, I'm prone to migraines, so I'm more likely to get headaches when watching this kind of stuff. But granted, I do have a fun time with this kind of 3D. It's silly, it's ridiculous, it's unrealistic. Most of the kills are impalements so that whatever's impaling these people sticks way out of the screen and you feel like it'll nearly hit you. You know exactly what I'm talking about. If you have the ability to watch this movie in 3D, do it. It's just fun. In fact, watching it in 3D will distract you for whenever the film has questionable visual graphics. Watching it in 2D, on the other hand, will most likely just be annoying and disappointing because all you'll really be able to do is notice when the film is trying to make something fly out of the screen in 3D. Whenever you can constantly tell a movie is 3D, the 2D version of it is almost always destined to suck. If you're somebody that never likes 3D in general, then I've got bad news for you. You'll probably hate this movie. I don't hate it though, so I had a good enough time with it. As far as the rest of the positives go, I feel like this will be primarily opinionated for me, but I liked these people. I knew that most of them were going to die, and for the first time in the series, I felt like I'd be slightly bummed if they did, because I did like them. Even if you like any of these characters by only a small margin, then you'll care about them. And if you care about them, you'll be a bit more invested in what happens in the story when your favorite side character gets killed. I just thought that these people, even though they weren't deeply developed characters or great actors, I felt like they were somewhat genuine, and so I was low-key hoping that none of them had to die. This is Final Destination though, so that was never gonna happen. Also, one of the things that I really liked about this film is that the third movie was too simple. They added the paranormal photography thing, which was neat, but in doing so, it removed the mystery angle, and in general, the chain reaction stuff was bland and not thought out very well. I think they brought it back to a fun spot in this movie again. There's a lot of interesting chain reactions going on in this film that feel a bit closer to how the earlier two movies did things. So that was a nice aspect. That being said, let's talk about some negatives because this is an imperfect film. First of all, like I said, this much 3D is tacky. A lot of people won't like it. It's very much a gimmick thing which will work for some and not for others. The story of the film is literally just a clone of the other films and doesn't add anything new, and once again ignores the rules spoken about in the second film. That is, the only way to escape death is to introduce new life that wasn't supposed to exist originally because of all the death. They ignored it in the third film, and they ignored it in the fourth because, let's be honest, once you know that's the key, it's easy to fix things from the beginning of the movie, so they had to leave it out and let the film progress as usual, ignoring the fact that in doing so leaves a giant plot hole the size of Nantucket. This movie, Death's design is exactly the same as the first. Throughout the movie, the main character gets vague visions on how the next person will die, just like the first movie. And finally, for the first time in the series, Tony Todd does not make an appearance. Not visually, not auditorily, no cameo in the background, nothing. Meaning that this film feels so much more like a money-grabbing sequel than any of the others. Let's go ahead and break down my final score for a second. From an unbiased technical viewpoint, the 3D made the visuals pop out, literally, so that was nice. The editing was pretty good, but overall, those were really the only things that stood out to me as good. The rest was business as usual, and like I said, some of these technical areas won't even be that impressive to a lot of other people. My unbiased score is 67%. My biased score is a bit higher at 77% because at the end of the day, this was a fun movie and I did have a good time with the 3D. Averaging out these two scores together, we come to the final rating of 73%, 73 out of 100 possible stars, or a C letter grade. A lot of these films that I've been watching as part of this Interpreting the Scares event have been getting similar scores, all of which basically mean that they're all decent, but a lot of them are technically forgettable. There are plenty of other movies that you'd probably prefer to watch over these. Not many of them were really made for you to grow up with or remember forever, and it shows. But guys, let me know your thoughts on The Final Destination in the comment section down below. Did you like the 3D? As for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this review, because there's always more like it coming out each and every single day. Hit the subscribe button and bell to be notified when I come out with my review for Final Destination 5. And until then, guys, peace out.
Dave examines movies we just watch for fun. Davey is the expert. He is the #1 critic that I go to when I need a movie pick. Thanks for joining up with us.